There's been a lot of speculation and a lot of rumblings, guys, that Mass Effect 4 is going to be coming out at some time or another in the foreseeable future. And guys, we've been talking on the YouTube channel about Mass Effect 4 and the possibility of where they could, maybe go with this story. Are they going to continue Andromeda and actually make Andromeda 2? Are they going to make something that was a direct continuation of the original trilogy, or something completely new altogether? And so, guys, what I wanted to go through in this segment of the show, because you guys can check out all of the Mass Effect content, guys, and Mass Effect 4 content on the YouTube channel here, but I want to talk about everything we know so far about Mass Effect 4, as well as some crazy rumors. So let's get into it. In an article, guys, that was written by Jared Weich of The Gamer, EA and BioWare need to hit it out of the park with Mass Effect 4. And here are 5 things we know about the game, as well as 5 crazy theories. Though BioWare has been on a bit of a freefall in recent years, fans are still highly anticipating the next entry in the Mass Effect franchise. Those who opt to play Mass Effect Andromeda in 2020 will be met with a game that's simply good in its worst moments after a series of updates since its released. And what I will say, guys, for me personally, I have said in the past that I like Andromeda. Like, I think underneath all of the negativity around the game, there's actually a pretty special game there. They just, obviously, it didn't connect well with everyone, and I think that there were definitely areas that they could have improved upon or made better at launch. But all in all, I thought it was a valiant effort that just didn't work out. So now, that's why I've said in the past, I don't think it's going to be Andromeda 2 that comes next. I think it'll be Mass Effect 4. Now, fans were left wondering where the franchise would go with its next entry, and if BioWare still has the magic left in them to release another all-time great. So, at number 10, guys, a rumor is that there's going to be a reboot. Where does Mass Effect go from here? That's the question fans and critics have been asking themselves ever since the release of Mass Effect Andromeda. With a sequel to that game already out of the question, it's tough to try and understand when and where the next title will take place. I don't think that a sequel to Andromeda is out of the question. I don't think it's likely, at least right now. Now, as far as where the story could go, guys, it's hard to say now. Would they do a reboot? There's a real good chance that they very well could do a reboot, and I don't think that the community would mind whatsoever if there was a soft reboot to this franchise. Now, we know, at number 9, we know that Dragon Age 4 is first. The reality of the matter is that fans won't be seeing Mass Effect 4 until Dragon Age 4, which is actively in development. On the plus side, most Mass Effect fans are BioWare fans, which means they're likely excited for Dragon Age 4 as well. You can't always paint with a broad brush, though, considering the fact that there are plenty of people who enjoy science fiction who don't also enjoy high fantasy settings. So what I'll say about Dragon Age 4, guys, is that we've talked about Dragon Age 4 a number of times on the YouTube channel as well. You guys can check out that content. But what I'll say about that is that Dragon Age 4 was in active development, and then apparently BioWare pulled a bunch of the people off of Dragon Age 4 to work on Mass Effect Andromeda as well as Anthem. And so what I'm getting at is that Dragon Age has gone through some, I'm not going to say a development hell, but it kind of seems like it's borderline to that, where there's been issues there with getting this game made. And so you got to wonder, sure, Dragon Age 4 is most likely the next game that's going to be coming out, but who knows when that's going to happen. And I wouldn't be surprised if BioWare is working on Dragon Age 4 as well as Mass Effect 4 at the exact same time. Now, one of the rumors, guys, at number 8 is non-human options. For a franchise focused on showcasing a larger universe outside the realm of the human experience, Mass Effect has put a huge focus on humans. Fans have wondered when the day will come where the protagonist is inhuman, or if they could ever get customization options where the race of your character is up to you. So, obviously, non-human options, I wouldn't mind something like that, especially from a multiplayer perspective. If they have multiplayer in Mass Effect 4, I think having, different races as far as your character is concerned, you should be able to have those options, in my opinion, especially, human or non-human. But we'll have to kind of wait and see, because that is a rumor. Now, what we do know is that Casey Hudson's back. Casey Hudson was a part of the original team of BioWare who brought the Mass Effect franchise to life. Afterward, he left to pursue other ventures, but in recent years, he rejoined the team at BioWare in an effort to return the studio back to the place among the greats they built themselves to be in. Hudson lived through the Mass Effect 3 ending fiasco and understands what that audience wants. His inclusion doesn't guarantee anything, but it does build some confidence in regard to the direction of the next title in the series. So one thing that we can take from Casey Hudson being back, guys, is that, he left, of course, but now he came back, and there's got to be a reason for him coming back. I would say that, he's probably back because he wants to, move Mass Effect in the right direction, most likely, or whether he's working on other projects, most likely he's working on Mass Effect 4 at this point to kind of bring that back. And there's probably other reasons, like maybe he really liked the direction from like the script or something, that he thought that this looks like it's going to be good, so I want to come back and help out with making Mass Effect, bringing it back to its, original glory. And number 6, guys, a rumor is a different perspective. The idea of how BioWare will return to the Mass Effect franchise is one that has been puzzling fans, with the original trilogy having a pretty strong and definitive ending. Where does the series go? As will be talked about later, we already know it won't be a sequel to Andromeda. Now, a neat idea for BioWare is if they retell the events of the original trilogy from a different perspective. Personally, guys, I would not like that. I think this universe is huge. I wouldn't mind a different perspective, but at the end of the day, I really would like them to be kind of like with the Andromeda, another galaxy, another area. This universe is huge, guys. I think that the trilogy should be left alone, or they do, they kind of explain what happened or whatever the case might be. But I really think that it should be, for the most part, left alone. A soft reboot should be maybe happen, or somewhere completely different. Now, one thing that we do know is BioWare's on thin ice. It's one thing to release a title that doesn't quite hit the mark and puts a developer on their back heels, but when that happens twice in a row for a publisher known to snap studios out of existence when they're no longer super profitable, it's an even more dire situation. On the heels of Anthem and Andromeda, BioWare is looking to rebound in a big way with Dragon Age 4. EA are hoping the game sells well. BioWare is hoping it meets the high-quality benchmark they established for themselves. So, guys, yes, BioWare is absolutely in a dire position. I mean, these guys have done a great job up to this point. They've had a couple of missteps with, Anthem and Andromeda. Both games, I thought, underneath all of the, backlash and bad reception and such, I thought were actually pretty good games. Underneath it all, right? I mean, obviously on the surface, it looks really bad with, whatever it is, whether you're talking microtransactions, whether you're talking about story, you're talking about gameplay and mechanics, whatever it might be, guys, I still feel that both those games had something there. It's just unfortunate we never saw the real, what could have been with those two titles. Now, a rumor is his First Contact War. Mass Effect captivated so many people, not only because of Shepard's story, but because of the lore and work building the games provided that fleshed out numerous alien races, events, and philosophies. The event fans have been clamoring for in video game form ever since the first game in the series releases the First Contact War. Now, guys, I'm not, super familiar with, all of the lore and such with Mass Effect. I love the Mass Effect franchise, but, as far as all of the lore and such, would the First Contact War be, something that would be something interesting to kind of experience and go down? I would be totally down. I remember it from the first game. And I'm hoping that we do see that actually, maybe happen at some point or another, or we get kind of a flashback or something of that nature that we can totally just see what that First Contact War was all about. One thing we know is that it won't be Andromeda 2, even though I already said that I don't know. I have my doubts about that. I don't think Andromeda 2 is the next game, guys, in the franchise. But I don't think that it's definitely not happening. It's already been made clear by BioWare leads that the next entry in the series won't be a follow-up to the heavily scrutinized dud that was Andromeda. As previously mentioned in this article, a soft reboot certainly is in play, while the idea of reliving the events of the original trilogy from a different perspective is also an avenue to go down. So, BioWare has stated that the next entry isn't going to be Andromeda. But guys, I don't know, sometimes you got to take these things with a pinch of salt. I'm not saying that BioWare's definitely, going to do an Andromeda 2. Don't get me wrong. I would say it's more likely, we said this in the past, it's more likely we're going to get a Mass Effect 4 than an Andromeda 2. But, you know, you can never say never. You can never say never. Look, I remember when the Call of Duty community was absolutely, you know, hellacious about, you know, telling the developers that we don't want another, you know, jetpack game. And they made 3 of them in a row. They made Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, and Infinite Warfare. And, you know, guys, they had, you know, they had stated, you know, that being like Activision stated that, look, we're changing the formula and such, and so people are getting all excited, and then all of a sudden they throw, you know, in jetpacks once again. Everyone wanted that boots on the ground feel, and they continue moving that direction. I'm not saying that the same is going to happen here with BioWare, but what I'm getting at is you can never say never. Most likely we're getting Mass Effect 4, but would you really say no to an Andromeda 2? Maybe after Mass Effect 4? Would you never want to see another Andromeda? Maybe they make that sequel a lot better, or they're able to like flesh it out in a major way. Who knows? I wouldn't mind seeing it. Obviously, I would like Mass Effect 4 first, and then maybe they can come back and do Andromeda. But most likely they're not going that way. I just want to tell you guys that just never say never. A rumor is that it's a next-gen game. With Dragon Age 4 currently in development under BioWare, it's safe to assume that, at the very least, the title will be a cross-generation platform or title. With Mass Effect 4 set to be the next project after that, gamers will be years into the life cycles of the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. A lot of added benefits will present themselves to BioWare as they work on making games for the next-gen hardware. So that's another thing that could really look special, guys. You know, that could really be special for Mass Effect 4 is that, you know, the graphics could be absolutely incredible. And I would love to see really, like, amazing graphics. We know that BioWare can do this. I'm sure they'll probably be able to do it here on the next-gen consoles with Mass Effect 4. And it could be, like, the best-looking, you know, Mass Effect game that we've ever had. Now, number one, guys, we know it's in development. The video game industry is super secretive. And unlike the film industry, fans rarely hear about games that are in early stages of development. As a result of the poor reception of both the Andromeda and Anthem, BioWare was put in a place where they almost needed to tell their audience that Dragon Age 4 and Mass Effect 4 were in development, with the former taking priority as it will release first. Fans at one point were worried that the Mass Effect franchise was killed by Andromeda's poor performance, so it's good to know that that is not the case. So, look, we do know it's in development, guys, which is awesome. And we believe it to be Mass Effect 4. We also believe that Dragon Age 4 is going to release before that, even though, I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I think that Dragon Age 4 was definitely in active development before those people were pulled off for Andromeda as well as Anthem. And so now, guys, BioWare, I just really think at the end of the day, they got to take their time. Take your time. Make the game, you know, the way you guys need to really bring this franchise back. Whether we're talking about Dragon Age 4 or Mass Effect 4, just take your time. And we'll be ready to play when the game is ready, and we'll be excited about it. Look, guys, there's so many games out there. We look at even 2020, how we had to wait for, you know, The Last of Us Part 2, how we are having to wait for Cyberpunk 2077. These games keep getting pushed back and delayed and such. And it's a good thing because we want to, you know, we want the game when it's ready. Sure, we're going to want it as soon as possible, but we don't want something that isn't going to be fully ready, and then there's going to be more criticism. And yes, if these games don't do well for BioWare, it could spell ruin for not one franchise, but 2 franchises and potentially a developer. But that being said, guys, this is everything that we know so far about Mass Effect 4. Let me know, guys, in the comment section below, what are you guys most excited about? Would you guys be open to a Mass Effect Andromeda 2, or do you really want a Mass Effect 4, or do you rather have Dragon Age 4? Let me know in the comment section below. Where do you think they're going with this story? In the comment section below, let me know, guys. And for more Mass Effect 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.